Tonight is Thursday. I don't know, what's the date? The 6th of February today. And I wasn't sure what day it was. It's been a long day today, actually. But anyway, welcome to the Evening Buzz. Tonight we got a great show for you, as always. My name's Rod Davison, coming at you from Fresno, California, and my good buddy and partner over there that's messing around with his headset, causing all kinds of distortion noises, is Paul. Go ahead, go for it.
Paul Charron over here, and I'm streaming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. And sorry about that. I didn't realize that I was causing such a ruckus. How you doing over there in California? I understand you guys are finally getting some rain.
Yes, hallelujah. It's been raining most of the day, actually, and it suspects a little bit more rain. So we've had like zero rain in almost a year, the worst drought in about 500 years, they say. So the rain is very welcome anyway.
You need to get out there and do a rain dance, dude.
Well, why do you think it started raining?
Hey, yeah, we're actually getting some rain here in Las Vegas as well. I can see snow building up on the mountains, and it was kind of a bleary, blustery day today. But it was cool. It's kind of neat to see that every now and then. When we're used to having a sunshine. All my Canadian friends are hating me right now. I was actually going to take pictures of my driveway and show them the two cars sitting in there with the driveway perfectly clear, just to annoy them, since they're all sending me pictures of their cars being snowed in. So. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen,
sounds like a normal thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was back in the day.
It's all right.
Okay,
Paul annoys me all the time, so it's okay.
That's my job, and that's what I do very well.
And I'm sure it works both ways.
Oh no, you never annoy me, Davison. Anyways, tonight's show, guys, we are going to talk about money management. Now, I know that some people are afraid of money management. The system we're going to show you is really pretty simple, and if you can't manage your money, life is going to be a living hell for you. And if you learn to manage your money, just a few simple things, it can make your life a whole lot easier. Now, this is something Rod and I have known each other now for going on close to a year, and it's something I've never shared with him, and it's not something I've shared with a lot of people ever, but it's a system that my wife and I learned a couple of years ago at a weekend seminar called the Millionaire Mind Intensive, and it's a 3-day seminar that teaches you how to change your money blueprint, change the way you think about money. I know that the majority of us were raised in that, there's not enough money to go around, money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't buy happiness, and all that kind of stuff. And although it's decent information, obviously money doesn't buy you happiness, but money will give you more of what you already have. Obviously, if you're a happy-go-lucky son of a gun and you're broke, having a whole bunch of money will normally make you a really happy-go-lucky son of a gun if you have money. But that's not always the case. We're going to show you a couple examples of that here tonight. But learning to manage your money can make a huge difference in just your well-being, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as well tonight, about how my wife and I it just takes the stress away when you're not fighting paycheck to paycheck. So I'm going to share my screen here, Rod, if you're ready to go.
I'm ready, if you're ready.
All right. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to go through just a little. I got a few slides prepared for you guys so that I can make this a little bit more visual for you guys that are visual. Because that's the way I learn, so I figured that there's a lot of other people out there, so you can take a little bit of both. You can listen, you can watch, however you want to do it, and let's get you guys rocking and rolling. So, can you see my screen?
I sure can.
Cool. So, financial freedom, and you see here our little financial puzzle, and putting the pieces of the puzzle together are what we're talking about here tonight. And the first thing I want to talk about, because everyone thinks that, Rod, if I could only win the lottery, if I could only come across a whole bunch of money, that life would be good. And that is just really not the case. And statistics show that 70% of people that come into a large sum of money are broke within a few years. So I'm going to show you something here that Rod and I ran across the other night when we were putting these shows together that was really mind-boggling. And we're going to look at lottery winners, NFL and NBA players. We're going to pick on those guys. Now, these are shocking statistics that most people really don't know. So lottery winners, 70% of lottery winners are broke within a few years of winning. 70%, Rod. So here's people that thought, my ship has come in, I've got all this extra money, and they go broke. How is that possible? Because everybody talks about that, right, Rod? That all I got to do is win a lottery and then life is good. But that doesn't necessarily happen. So Rod has got a few stories, actually, that we dug up. Incredible stories that shows that these are people that didn't learn how to manage their money before they came into this large sum. So go ahead and share some of that with us, Rod.
Well, there was, one of the first stories that we actually ran across was there was a married couple that, they had a great marriage. They never argued. They were, they really had a really great relationship, right? And they ended up winning $2.76 million, right?
That's not bad.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good chunk of change. And within 6 years they were broke, divorced, and pretty much had nothing to show for it. So it was just, when we started digging into these lottery winners and some of how they lost everything and their life totally changed, it's just like, maybe I don't want to win the lottery.
Exactly. What about that? There was that Canadian woman, right?
Yeah, there was another Canadian woman. She won $10.6 million.
Ouch!
I mean,
nice.
that's some serious dough, and that's by far not the biggest one that we have to share with you guys tonight. But
now most people would think 10.7 or 10.6, you're done for life, right?
You would think, and then in less than 10 years, she was taking a bus to work and working a job to support her kids. So she basically lost that. She basically was able to spend $1 million a year, basically, without having anything to show with it. Now, to me, that's mind-boggling how you can spend $1 million a year and not have some sort of assets.
Right. Now, that there was a good part to that story, I guess, that she had put some away for her kids, because I think she has 4 or 5 or 6 kids, so she had put some away for her kids. So at least she was smart enough to do that. What about, wasn't there a guy that, killed his wife or something?
Well, there was a $5 million winner that, and the husband ended up killing his wife for squandering away all the money. So, I mean,
Jesus.
It's just crazy what some of these people do. I mean, and it really comes, a lot of it comes back to greed. People do some crazy things, when money gets in the way, and and that's why we really felt tonight was really a good way to look at this money management system that that Paul's went to. Basically, it was a three day class that really, you would think, how do you go spend 3 days on how to save money and how to manage your money? But I think once he kind of goes through his presentation, you'll understand. Now, to me, this is the big one right here. There was $114 million clear after taxes that they lost in 4 years. 4 years, $114 million.
Does it say how they did that?
I mean, I can't even imagine that. And I think most of it was with gambling, because there was this guy. He had lost $745,000 in his car twice because it was stolen. He left that kind of money in his car and it was stolen. So he just totally, I don't know exactly what he did, but anyway, it was left in his car, and then he was sued by the Atlantic City casinos for bouncing a $1.5 million check.
See, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
that's just crazy. So you can see that these people did not learn how to manage their money when they had none. So when all this stuff comes on, they don't know how to manage when they have a bunch, and that's a lot of the problem with this stuff. And guys, there was just tons and tons more stories about that kind of stuff. It's incredible. Like we said, almost 70% of people that come into money, and part of this is what I'm going to show next is really crazy.
Yeah.
Check this out, Rod.
Actually, there's one more quick story I want to just tell them.
All right.
So
Cool.
there was one other person that they won 5.4 million by hitting the lottery not once but twice. So somebody was lucky enough to actually hit the lottery twice. I mean, can you imagine being lucky enough to hit the lottery twice? And then what happened? They went to the Atlantic City Casino again, and they lost it all. They lost every bit of it. I mean,
That's crazy.
That's just completely insane. You know, and
That's
I guess
insane. It's not. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so basically, I guess the moral of the story is if they would have went to that workshop with you, probably all of these people would never have to work again.
Right. And I could have helped them manage that money. But no, absolutely. And I'll share a little bit more of the workshop here in just a second because, yeah, you go, oh, wow, how can you take 3 days to learn about, managing money? And because what I'm going to show you in half hour is really part of the money management, but there's a lot of mindset behind that as well. And if you think about that, coming into all this money, you would think, oh, it would be easy. Well, here's another example, Rod. This is crazy. 70% of NFL players are broke within 5 years of retiring. 70% of NFL players, guys that are making millions of dollars every single year. Wow, you just put away a little bit, right? Nope. 70% are broke. NBA players,
crazy.
They do a little bit better. It's crazy. NBA players, they do a little bit better at 60%. So 60% of NBA players are broke within 5 years of retiring. Now, you guys know that you hear their stories on TV all the time. These guys are making, $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year, more than most people would make in a lifetime. And so if they just took 1 year of their salary and managed it properly, they would be able to survive the rest of their life. But they don't. So there's some underlying things here that are not just about managing your money, it's about managing yourself and managing your state of mind, and that's what we're going to get into here in just a second. So the Millionaire Mind Intensive, this is a three-day intensive designed to change your money blueprint. So like I said, we all have these things in our head about, money doesn't grow on trees, and we have all these like just anti-abundance thinking that we grew up with because that's the way our parents taught us. Because if you grew up in a blue-collar family like I did, there was just never enough money to go around. You really kind of lived, my parents lived paycheck to paycheck because it's just the way they knew, because that's the way they were taught by their parents and so on and so forth down the line. And that's why it's really important that if these are the things that you heard growing up, and what are some of the things maybe that you heard growing up, Rod? Did you hear the money doesn't grow on trees thing? I know you were raised by a single mom, so it had been tough for her.
Yeah, I mean, there was I did, money didn't grow on trees, and my mom worked really hard, and it was tough, growing up in those times, especially the single parent. I mean, nowadays, if you don't have two parents, usually if you don't have two people working in a household, generally, I mean,
it's really tough.
It's really tough to make it,
Yeah. Yep. So this is all about that, about how you the whole thought process behind it. And I'll tell you what, over the 3 days, tears are flowing. You're bringing up all this crazy stuff from your past. It was just a really cool emotional experience. It was a cleansing experience, and it really changes your mindset from there's not enough to go around to there's more than enough to go around if you learn how to handle it. And then when you come into a big sum of money like these guys did in the lottery or the NFL players and all that, you would learn they would already be prepared to handle that money. It's just they're not. These NFL players and NBA players, a lot of them come out of really, really simple beginnings, and they just don't know how to handle their money because it's not something that's taught in school. And here, I'm going to get on a tangent about school. I'm going to try not to do that. But why are we teaching calculus and algebra in school and not money management. Come on. My son, he brought home a book, one financial thing that he did in one of his classes, and I don't know if it was math or whatever, but it was a joke. It was literally a manual right from the bank where, get a diversified portfolio of money management funds and invest in a 401k.
Right.
Horrible information, and we're gonna go into the 401k thing on another day. I got this new book from a guy named Andy Tanner, and he's one of Robert Kiyosaki's guys, and it's called 401 Chaos. And it's a great book, and for those of you who still think the 401k is a great plan, I got news for you. It's not. You don't have control of your money, and when you don't have control of your money, it's a bad deal for you. All of your profit gets caught up in fees and things like that. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back into how you're going to manage your money. So you're going to set up several accounts. The first account you're going to set up, Rod, is called your FFA. This is your financial freedom account. It's literally a savings account that you put away, and they call it the golden goose. So it's the golden goose, and this lays eggs for you, because what happens is that you put away enough money till you get to a point where the only thing that you touch out of this account is interest, is money that it produces for you. You never touch the principal in this account. So when do you get to spend the money in this account? Never. You never get to spend the money in this account. This is money that you put away every single month, and you never get to spend it. The only money you ever get to see out of this account is money that this account makes for you in the forms of dividends or some kind of interest payments and stuff like that. The second account is NEC. That's your necessities account. Your necessities account is for rent and mortgage and car payment, food, insurance, stuff like that. The next account, LTSS. This is your long-term savings for spending. You use this for vacations, car, clothing, and I put even a carburetor because I used it to buy a carburetor at one point, and I'll explain that in just a minute. The next account is an education account. Now this is not for your kids' college, folks. Education is for your education, for your financial education, for your personal development, for continuing education classes for you. This is not your kids' college fund. If you're going to put money away for your kids' college, you would probably use your LTSS or your long-term savings for spending. Another account you set up is a give account. And this, I left that as a necessities. I was doing this in a real hurry today, guys. So your give account is money that you give to charity, because we all want to be able to give back and be, a productive giver in society. That's just it's part of the fun of making money. And the play account. Now the play account is exciting. This is your reward for putting money into your FFA. Your play account, you blow this every single month, and 3 months max. So the next slide is going to explain a little bit more about all this. So ideally, you want to put 10% into your FFA, and we'll go through this really, really quick, and then we'll look at each of these. You're going to put 50% into your NEC, your necessities, 10% into your LTSS, 10% into your education, 10% into your give account, and 10% into your play account. Now, before you guys freak out and go, I can't put 50% or I can't put this much money into these separate accounts, you may be able to, you may not. I'm going to be honest with you. We started off with our necessities account. Lorraine and I, when we first looked at this, I'd said the same thing. Lorraine and I were coming back home from California, and we're going, are they crazy? We can't possibly put this much money away. We can't separate this much money into all these accounts. We got home, we sat down, we whipped out a spreadsheet, we started going through this, and the best that we could come up with is 80% to our necessities. I'm going to be honest with you, we were living beyond our means, really. We were living a bigger lifestyle than we probably should have. And we really still do. We're still working on it. We are now 2 years later. We're working at 70%, Rod. So it's not, we're not perfect by any means, but this really will help you. This gets you to ideal situation here. Okay? So let's take a look at this. So here's your ideal situation. And let's say I'm taking this off of a $30,000 a year net. and this is off your net income. So if you net, you know, $20,000 a year, you would divide this up at $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000. However, whatever your net payment is, that's your net salary. That's what you want to base this on, your net monthly income. So if I can't remember what I was going to say, but this is based off of your net. Well, you could use this, like I said, I was going to say you could use this in your business accounts as well. If you have a business, you could set this up like this, so you could have some in marketing, some in your necessities for your, you know, rent and mortgage and stuff for your business. You could actually do this for your business and make that a really cool way to run your business finances as well. But let's take a look at $30,000 a year. Your necessities at 50%. So $1,250 you could spend on your rent, car payment, you know, gas, insurance, all that kind of stuff. $1,250, not a whole lot of money. So you can see that if you're in that $30,000 a year range, you know, you're probably going to have a roommate, or like you said, Rod, you're probably got two people in the house that are earning money to survive. I mean, that's unfortunately the way a lot of households are nowadays, right? Two incomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So you can see that 50%, $1,250 is going to go to your necessities. Now, I always recommend, and we're going to show you the non-ideal thing here in just a second, but I recommend you try to keep your FFA at 10%. So if you're doing $30,000 a year, you can put $250 a month away in your FFA. And if you do that starting at a very young age, you're going to do very, very well by the time you get to be old guys like Rod and I. Your LTSS.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Your LTSS, I'm sorry, I am speaking for both of us. Your long-term savings for spending, so vacations and things like that. How does this work for that kind of stuff? Lori and I have a family LTSS, and then we separate our money as well. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, if you are married and you are pooling every last dime of your money together, that is marriage suicide, because you're going to run into those times where you're going to fight about money, and it's really one of the biggest causes of divorce in this country. And if you can eliminate that from your marriage, I'll tell you what, you can, you know, make things a lot better. So we actually have family LTSS, and we have personal LTSS as well. So what did I do? I wanted a carburetor for my motorcycle. I actually wound up waiting, I think it was almost 8 months before I could afford to buy that carburetor, but I delayed that gratification, and that's what this is about a little bit as well, Rod, is delaying that instant gratification that we all have to have it now, you know. I had to delay that, but it was also something for me to look forward to, and when the time came, I had I think it was $500 or $600 cash that I took and paid cash for that carburetor. No putting it on a credit card, and wind up having a $500 carburetor turn into an $850 carburetor because I wound up making payments on it for a year and a half. I walked in and paid cash for it, or actually paid cash for it online. So you do that with vacations. We do that with vacations all the time, and that's how we manage to do a lot of vacationing and not have to pay for it afterwards. There's nothing worse, Rod, than going on vacation. You know, and this is the way we used to do it as well. I was a violator of this as well. You'd go on vacation, you slam your credit cards to the top, you get back from your vacation, and then now your vacation is destroyed because now you're paying back all those credit cards for the next year or year and a half. And by the time the next year rolls along and you're coming to your next vacation, you may not have even paid off your vacation from last year, and then you're going ahead and starting into another one. And that's the vicious cycle that we get into that we got to stop, folks. And that's the reason we're in this financial crisis that we're in now. The
That's
instant
exactly
gratification.
why everybody's in debt, man. That's exactly why everybody's in more debt than they can pay off right now.
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of people blame it on, oh, the nasty credit card companies. Really? Oh, so they're there with a shotgun to your head telling you that you have to use that credit card. They're not. We have to have some self-discipline, man. And I didn't have it either. I did not have it. I was a credit card spender, and you know, like I said, you go on vacation, you have a great time, you get back, and then for the next few months you're miserable because the bills are rolling in for that credit card. It sucks. We've got it to a point now where I mean, dude, we did a lot of vacationing last year, and it was, we always had the cash to pay it off. Now, did we use cash on our vacation? No, we don't carry cash around on our vacation. We use our credit card. We use a credit card that has points on it, and then as soon as we get back from vacation, we slam that cash on the credit card. We get the points for whatever it is we have. We have a credit card with massive amount of points for airline miles and all that crazy stuff. So that's what the LTS is for. How are we on time, Rod? I can't see a clock. Where are we?
You got about 5 minutes left
5
before
minutes.
the bottom of the hour.
All right. Well, we're gonna try to bang through this. Education, as you see here, $250. The give, plain and simple. If you're going to give to your church or whatever, your play account. This account, $250 a month. Imagine if you had $250 a month where you could just blow. You can smoke it on whatever you want. If you want to get shoes, handbags, golf clubs. I like to gamble. I do. So I use my play account a lot of times for gambling, or we're taking Lori out for dinners and stuff like that. It's take it out and blow it. And what is that for? It's a reward for putting that same amount of money away. And so that's why you have the play account. There's got to be a reason why you're going through all this work of putting these accounts together and being good with your money. This allows you to go out and spend a little, and that maybe freaks somebody out, but I'll tell you what, if you're putting away 10%, it's only fair that you reward yourself as well. So here's whatever it takes. We were in a little bit, our income's a little higher than $30,000, but if you're making $30,000 and you go, I can't do that ideal thing, here's the whatever it takes. Let's say you have to go to 80% of your NEC. $2,000 a month. Now that's a pretty decent living. If you've got an apartment for $1,000 and you got $1,000 for a car payment, for insurance, for food, if you're a single person, that's a decent amount of money. And that's probably a little high. I probably could have got away with 70% or even 60%. And you can adjust these numbers accordingly as you see. Your FFA, I would try and keep it at 10%. At $250, now you divide the rest up into all the other accounts. So now you're at 2.5% for everything else. So now you're putting away $62.50 a month for vacations or whatever it is. You're putting away $62.50 a month for education, to give away to charity, for your play account. Now, you can see that if you're up in the $100,000 a year, how this could get really exciting. If you're at $100,000 a year, now you're talking about quite a bit of money every single month. So let's buzz through this. So people go, oh, this is so hard, Well, you don't have to do this. But let's take a look at this. Managing your money, right? You got to learn a new skill. It's just like everything else. You're going to learn how to do this, okay? You're going to be short on money at first. And what you might want to do is, there was a story of a lady that started with just $1, Rod. She took $1 and divided that up into the accounts first, and then spent it accordingly. Then the next month she took $2, and then the next month $4, and she did like the penny doubling thing. And by the end of the year, she was pretty much at 100% of her salary. But she started and got used to dividing that money up into the accounts. And guys, you don't have to open up bank accounts. We have some bank accounts. We have some envelopes and stuff like that we have our money in. So it's not just going to the bank, and you don't have to have all these set up in the bank. You could start with these in the home. The MMI actually calls it the jar system. So they actually recommend using jars, because then you can see your money building as you're stuffing money in it. So you're going to be short on money at first because it's just tough to get used to. It's not an easy skill. You might have to skip a vacation. You might have to go, okay, I can't do a vacation this year, and that's what we did. We went on no vacation the very first year we did this because we just couldn't figure a way to make it happen, and we didn't want to use our credit cards. We wanted to stick with the plan. It gets easier as you start to develop. It's just like a muscle and lifting weights or running or anything, Rod. Once you do it for a bit, it gets easier and easier. Now then you start to see your savings grow, and then that starts to get exciting. When that started to happen, we were going, man, this is really cool. And then you can start paying cash for things, which eliminates those credit card interest charges. That saves you money every single year. If you've got an 18% credit card, that saves you 18% a year right there. Your credit card interest starts to go away. You start looking forward to vacations because you can see that money in your vacation account building, and those vacations are already paid for. And this is where you will always have money. You can never be broke because that financial freedom account is constantly growing. When we first started our other business, Rod, we were borrowing left and right from friends and family and everybody we could to make payroll those first few months, because the hotel would not pay us for a long period of time, and we're a little company trying to pay 8 employees. We couldn't manage that money at first. It was really, really tough. When you're getting spread on one end and have to pay it out every other week on the other end, it was tough. It was constant stress. It was always like, oh my goodness, when is the hotel going to pay us? Are we going to be able to make payroll? And that doesn't happen anymore. Why? Because we've got so much put away in our personal accounts now, and I'm not bragging to brag, guys. I'm bragging to show you that what changes is the other day my wife said to me, man, I don't feel stressed about money anymore. And we looked at each other and smiled, and I'm like, hey, the money management thing works, doesn't it? And she says, yeah, we've got payroll coming up. We don't have a check-in yet from the hotel, but it doesn't matter because I know that if worse comes to worse, we can do this ourselves. We can loan ourselves the money out of that FFA. We're not going to use it, but we can loan ourselves the money out of that FFA for a few days or a week or 2 weeks, whatever it takes for us to get paid from the hotel. That takes the stress away so much, and within a day or so we got paid, and so there was no stress at all. But it really helps you change your mindset and just frees you up because you always have money in the bank. You might not have money to spend, you might not have money to your necessity account might get low, but you will always have money in an LTSS. You will always have money in a savings account, in your FFA. You will always have money there, so you literally cannot be broke. So it changes the way you feel about yourself and money and everything else. So, not managing your money, what happens on this side? You're still broke. If you think that it's too hard to do and you don't do it and you don't want to manage your money, you say, I'm not going to do this. This is too hard. Dividing my money up into 6 accounts, that's just way too much work. And it is. You're still going to be broke. You're still going to be living paycheck to paycheck, and that's just not any fun. So you hear this all the time, Rod. I think it might even be Jim Rohn says, in order for things to change, you must change. Is that a Jim Rohn thing?
Absolutely.
All right. And insanity, we all hear this, doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result. People do that all the time. I don't want to manage my money, but next week they're going to be going, I'm broke. Well, that's insane. You've got to do something in the right and go in a different direction if you want a different result. So money management is literally your key to financial freedom. You're going to feel a lot less stressed. You're going to have a brighter outlook on life. Trust me, it has changed. I had a great relationship with my wife prior to this, and this just makes it so much better because we do not fight about money, and it is so cool. And we know that as our income gets greater and greater and greater, we're just playing with bigger numbers, Rod. We actually punch it into an Excel spreadsheet. It tells us what accounts to spread the money into and how much, and boom. So if we're making 60 or 100, 200, $1 million a year, it just gets better and better and better. So it is work to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but all great outcomes require at least a little bit of work. And that's the end of what I've got to say tonight. So let me come back in with you there, Rod.
Actually, I had a friend that I used to work with that I think it wasn't quite to this extreme, but it was similar to this. And actually, the bank that he actually worked with, he would deposit his money into one account, and it would split it up into the separate accounts automatically when he made a deposit.
Your bank will do that.
Yeah.
Your bank absolutely will do that. And I don't know if they'll go 6 accounts. They might. But what we do is we deposit all into one account, and then, like I said, Lori puts it into our spreadsheet, and then we take and we'll pull out a certain amount of cash, and that's our play account, and she gives me my play account every single month, whatever my allotment is, and she divides it up and gives that to me. She takes hers, and then she separates everything into LTSS accounts and all that kind of stuff. It just makes things so much easier, and it is a lot of work. She does have it in a spreadsheet, so yeah, it takes a little bit to get up and running. But once you do that, and once you get used to doing it, like I said earlier, it's like building a muscle. It's like working out. That first couple of days it's painful and it sucks and you don't want to do that anymore. But then after that, it really starts to develop into something that's really kind of fun. I mean, she digs going, hey, check this out, and she keeps running totals of all the accounts and stuff, and she's, oh, check this out, check where our FFA is, and our LTSS is building for our next vacation, and we'll have our budget made up for our vacation, and we know that, okay, our next vacation is going to cost X number of dollars. What does our LTSS have to be? Is it going to cover that? And we pretty much can tell what we need to do to separate those accounts. It's amazing. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. The bank will do that. And there is some more to this, guys. I'm not going to get into all of it because there is a lot more to it. Obviously, your FFA, if you can put it into a really solid, very, very non-risk account that pays you a dividend or something like that, absolutely, you can use it for that. But really, your FFA is your golden goose. It's meant to grow and grow and grow until it starts producing the eggs, and then you can spend those eggs. So, and then maybe for business and things like that. There's a whole nother part to this, but this is a phenomenal start for somebody who might be struggling and just doesn't, and it goes, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to manage my money. This is a really, really simple way to do that. And the best way is to go, I make X number of dollars a month. My necessities are, figure out what your necessities are, and that's scary in itself because people think, I have employees that go, oh, I only spend X number of dollars a month, and when you sit down and start writing it all out, they go, oh, wow, I didn't realize I spent that much every single month on that stuff. So you figure out your necessities first, you figure out how much money you actually make, and then you go, okay, my necessities is 70%, 60, 80%, whatever it is, then divide the rest up into those other accounts and start splitting it up. And like I said, if you can't handle doing 100% all at once, because that's what we did, and it was ugly. It was so hard because all of a sudden we don't have the money that you're used to just having money carrying with you and being able to spend it when you think you have it. That was a little tough to get used to. Only having a certain amount of play money, I know that I can only spend X number of dollars a week, and if I'm broke the third week, that's my carry around money. I can't have any more money to carry around. At that point, it's like no more going out. If you go through your play money in the second week, folks, you don't go out. You don't go to the movies. You don't go bowling. You don't go. You don't. And you don't just go, well, let's go throw it on the credit card. Not anymore. Time to say enough is enough and do what's necessary to manage what you've got. And if you can't make that work, if all of a sudden you get to see, well, my necessities are 90% or 95% or something like that, you've got issues. You're living way beyond your means. And you either have to cut back on expenses, figure out how to get rid of that ridiculous car that you're driving that you shouldn't be. I mean, how many people do you know, Rod, that are driving around their entire net worth? You're looking, you drive through an apartment complex here in Las Vegas, and you go through an apartment. Nothing wrong with living in an apartment. I've lived in apartments. But you drive through the apartment complex, and there's people driving BMWs and Mercedes 550s and stuff, and you're going, wait a minute. This just doesn't work, People drive their net worth around. It's ridiculous. Stop playing Keep Up with the Joneses and learn to manage your money. That's my rant for the night. Really important stuff, guys.
So, Paul, what you're really saying is it's really hard to put a 3-day workshop into 30 minutes?
It's hard to put a 3-day workshop into 30 minutes. Yeah, we ran about 40 there, but
yeah, that's okay.
It's a very important thing. It's a very important lesson for people. And if you can get through this and you can put it to work, then you can go ahead and you can make a huge difference. Oh yeah. On the recording, we're going to have a link to the MMI seminars. You'll be able to go on there. You'll be able to see where the seminars are in your area. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now for those of you guys who are online. Put the chat in there. And in the chat is a link where you can go and jump on the Millionaire Mind Intensive website and get 2 free tickets, any of the Millionaire Mind Intensives that you want to go to. So 2 free tickets. You can upgrade to the VIP stuff in that if you want. You'll have to read all about that. There's extra little things that you get when you're a VIP. But 2 free tickets. I think actually you can get up to 10 free tickets. So if you've got a couple other people in your family that you think this kind of stuff would help, go on that website, click on that link, go on that website, and find a Millionaire Mind Intensive close to you. And what we hear people sometimes say is like, oh, the closest one was like 3-4 hours from me. So get in your car and drive your ass down to the seminar and fix your finances, because it'll make your life a whole lot easier. My wife and I drove 4 hours to LA to go to this 3-day seminar, because that's what it takes sometimes. Rod has flown halfway across the country sometimes to go to a seminar that's going to help his business. Why? Because that's what it takes sometimes to be successful, folks. And you got to stop with the freaking excuses all the time about, well, I can't do that because it's 3 days and it's 4 hours away, or I got to work on Friday. Really? One day that you can't take off to go do something like this to change the way that you take care of your finances, that to me is crazy. And then you'll be miserable the rest of your life. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just like my mentor always told me, because I used to have some of those same excuses that you just talked about, and it's like, do you want to stay where you're at, or do you want to do you want to change? So I mean, that's really the decision you got to make. And I think, with this money management system that Paul just talked about, it's really a good time to really look at all of your expenses and trim off some of that fat, and you'll be amazed how much, how many expenses that a person tends to collect over the years without even realizing it, that you can just, it's like, I don't need this, and I don't need this, and I don't really need that, and you'll be surprised you can save, $100, $200, $300 a month sometimes by just trimming the fat. So, go to that seminar, sleep in your car if you have to, but the bottom line is, if you really want to make a difference in your life, you got to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So that's my 2 cents for the show tonight.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a storage facility? Do you leave your house to go to a storage facility?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Cool. I don't either. If you have a storage facility outside of your house and you're not moving or have just moved from somewhere, you have too much junk in your life. That is one of those things that just drives me crazy. When you see a storage facility on every single street corner now, how much junk we have in America that we have no, and then you see storage wars on TV to make it worse, where people have so much junk we don't even care, we just forget about it. And it's like, if that's the case, if we're able to auction off storage facilities because people have just plain forgot about it and can't even afford to store their stuff, how much junk do we have? No wonder people across the globe hate Americans, because we just have so much junk that we have to have a separate storage facility for our junk. Actually, in Mexico, when I went down there, I was asking my relatives down there, well, where do you store your stuff? And they're like, no, we don't have storage facilities. We don't do that. And that's why, you'll see houses with some stuff stored around it down there, and that's why I see a little bit of things. But here, it's crazy. I've got so much junk that I have a second junk place. It's nuts. So anyways,
yeah,
we've gone over about 15 minutes
but
tonight.
They have stuff in there that has sentimental value,
Yeah, whatever. Goodwill. That's one word I have for you, folks. Goodwill. Get rid of it. Give it to somebody else who can use it. Give it to somebody else who can need it. Drive down to a poor area of your neighborhood, and if you're not the one living in that poor area, but drive down to a poor area, take that couch that you're never going to see, take that picture that you're never going to see or use, and give it to somebody who can truly need it or use it in their home. I mean, I've done that a few times where we've donated couches to people that need it, or I've had toys where we've driven down a street and saw a bunch of kids say, hey, you guys need a bicycle, hand them a bicycle. It's so cool, the reaction you get. Get rid of the junk. Like you said, that was a great thing for you to say, is this is a great time for you to trim the fat. Look at the stuff you don't need, trim the fat and get rid of it, because it's not doing you any good. Sell it. Do the eBay thing. Make a little bit extra cash. You say you don't have any cash, but you've got a storage unit full of junk, hit eBay until you get rid of all of it. And not only are you going to get rid of all that junk, make some extra cash, now you don't have that $100 or $150 or $200 a month that you're paying for that storage facility either. So.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that, and eBay is a great way, you know, if you're trying to get to an event or pay for a hotel, everybody's got stuff around their house that they can get rid of that they really don't need. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah,
and the MMI is free, guys. All you're going to do is pay a hotel. The thing is free. Like I said, you can read about the VIP, but you're right, Rod. Sell it to go there, just to pay for your hotel for a couple of nights.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these events where you get around all these like-minded people, whether it's you know, it's a training deal, it's a, you know, money management system, it's you know, some company that you're affiliated with, whatever the case is, it's, you know, that's where all the networking happens, and that's really where, you know, that's really where things, you know, where things really happen for you. So you're not gonna, a lot of times you don't get the ability to you know, meet those kinds of people sitting behind your desk at home or at work, you know.
Right. And that Millionaire Mind Intensive, folks, I am telling you, it will change your freaking life. It is not just about that little bit of money management we talked about. It is about changing your mindset towards money. One of the things I hate is when you see someone in a nice car, a Ferrari or whatever, driving down the road, and you're standing on a street corner, you'll hear people going, oh, you know, lucky bastard. It's like, oh, really? How do you know that? How do you know that guy didn't invent the coolest product on earth? How do you know that guy didn't work his butt off to get that car? How do you know he didn't develop a new system for people to be able to get water in Ethiopia, and that's how he got that car? Stop saying that all rich people are horrible, and when you see a car like that, you go, how did he do that? How do I make enough money that I can afford that car? And the other side of it is, the guy might be broke and driving a car he can't afford either. So, you know.
Well, you know, and a lot of people do that with houses. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but they pretty much tell you that you should not buy a house that costs more than 2 years of your annual salary. So if you're making $60,000 a year, you should not be buying a house that costs more than $120,000. And, you know, there's people making $50,000 and $60,000 that are buying $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000 houses. I mean, it's it's insanity, you know.
You want me to go off on another tangent, don't you, about how we got into this whole mess?
No.
But it's true. That's what we were doing. And I don't know if they could do it in California, but in Vegas, you could walk in somewhere and go, they're called stated loans. You could say, yeah, I make $150,000 a year, even if you were making 60, and they would give you a loan.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But anyways, that's my rant for tonight, guys. That's the money management course for you. It's really powerful stuff if you can wrap your mind around it and put it to use. If you don't put it to use, it's not going to do you any good, of course. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, facebook.com/eveningbuzz. You can go to obviously my website underneath me here at I think I have paulgoesglobal.com. And reach out to us and ask any questions that you have. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Again, my name is Paul Charron, and I was streaming to you live from Vegas. And I'm done. Rod, take us home.
Okay, yeah, and I think the last thing, you know, for anybody that's watching this, we're going to be doing a private session to dive into this a little bit deeper. Paul doesn't know this yet. I just kind of sprung that up. I just thought of it, but I'm going to make
So what are we, wait a second, what are we doing?
We're going to do a group coaching session for anybody that wants some more detail on this money management system.
Okay. And do we know when we're doing that yet, or we're just going to wait till people touch base? And
yeah, we'll reach out. You know, we'll reach out to people once they. So make sure that you connect with one of us. Make sure you leave a comment on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/theeveningbuzz. So make sure you reach out to us, and once we get everybody together, we'll probably just create a little Facebook group and get everybody added to that, and we'll get started with that. But anyway, cool. I think there's actually one of the Millionaire Mind Intensives that's coming up in Vegas in April, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is.
I'm considering going to that myself, actually. I think
cool.
It'd be very cool. And then hopefully I won't have to pay for a hotel. Maybe Paul will put me up for a couple days.
You got it, man. You know that my mi casa es su casa.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for checking us out tonight, and hope this was very informative. And I wish everybody success on putting this plan together. And like you said, just if you can't do it all, just start with a little bit and build up to it. And look at your expenses and cut what you can, and it's going to make a huge difference. So I actually go through and try to cut the fat at at least once a year. So. Because stuff just pops up. All right, well, thank you, everyone. This is Rod Davison from Fresno, California, cutting out.